Hey, just wanted to jump on in here real quick and let you know that the Ladies Kickin' Ass Happy Hours are about to come back. That's right. This November, we'll be starting the local Ladies Kickin' Ass Happy Hours right here in Gilbert, Arizona. So mark your calendars for November 16th from 4 to 7 p.m., and we'll drop more information as we get closer to the date. Can't wait to see you there. Welcome to the Ladies Kickin' Ass podcast, where we raise our voices and honor the badass achievements of women in the service industry. Get ready for empowering conversations, inspiring stories, and a whole lot of ass-kicking energy. Join us as we redefine what it means to be bold, fearless, and unapologetically YOU, babe. This is your platform, your community, and your source of inspiration. So buckle up, get ready to rock and roll, and let's show this world just how much we can accomplish. Welcome to the Ladies Kickin' Ass podcast. Welcome back to another episode of Ladies Kickin' Ass. This one's going to be a good one because I have a wonderful lady here that I cannot wait to introduce to you. She is multi-passionate. She is multifaceted. She's got tons of experience. She specializes in a lot of shit that all of us are dealing with, especially like I hit 40 and I'm like, what the fuck is happening to me? And I know it's not that it's like necessarily something that is happening to you. You just need to know how to deal with things. So Tracey Vlahos is with us today, and she is a multi-passionate coach. She teaches all kinds of different things about health and wellness and how to take care of ourselves. And I'm so excited for her to share her knowledge with you today. I have a ton of questions that I know a lot of women that I talk to. Thankful for you being gracious to come here and share your knowledge with us today and be able to promote your services and the ways that you can help other women. So Tracey, welcome to the Ladies Kickin' Ass podcast.
Oh my goodness, Tanya. Thank you so much for having me on here. I love this, Ladies Kickin' Ass. And from the moment I met you, like I didn't realize you had this podcast, but you are definitely a kick-ass woman. So when I saw this podcast, I was like, oh, this is so her. So thank you for having me on.
Awesome. Yes. Thank you for coming. So why don't you go ahead and give the listeners a little background on your formal life that you used to have as a global executive and why you left that life to start working with and elevating women.
Yeah. So, oh my goodness. I was a global executive for 27 years and absolutely loved it. I loved working with women. It was just amazing. But I want to just back up to just say this a little bit, because a lot of people will ask, like, how did you get into your career? Because it really was a fascinating career of doing product development, to launching companies, to taking several companies to $1 billion. And that's not all me. So I don't want to, say that that's, completely me. So I always want to be able to preface that. But you learn a lot of shit along the way as you're like scaling companies and you're doing things. But most importantly, you're learning a lot and you're working with a lot of women. So I had a very unique opportunity that not only could I strategize on the inside of corporate and scaling businesses, but I also worked with lots of independent entrepreneurs. So I traveled every week, pretty much 40 some weeks a year. I'd leave on a Thursday. I'd come home on a Sunday night, be back in the office on Monday. Always never probably worked underneath the 100, 120 hours a week, and just really loved it. But I always share as well is that I was a teen mom. So I always want to just pause in case we have somebody young on here that's a woman kicking ass. I want to say something to you right now. No matter what your background is, no matter, I was rural Ohio, 19. I thought I had this path. I laid out this 5-year plan, Tanya. And then all of a sudden, 6 months after graduating high school, I get pregnant. That wasn't on the timeline, is what I'm going to share with you. But you know what? I always say that's okay. Because on that timeline, right, it's never a straight line. There's going to be bumps and paths along the way. So I'm not going to get into that whole story, but I got my foot in the door at the first company and I just was so fascinated. And I remember just working and meeting each and every business area. Like I wanted to work with the executive vice presidents of all the business areas. But Tanya, I will say this, they did not have time for me coming in at 24 years old. That's what I want to say to you. I was a tour guide, as a matter of fact, for the first company that we took to $1 billion. But I did 6 months as a tour guide. Yes, I did. And so I want to say, I don't care where you are on your path. If you want to go somewhere, you can get there. And it was just me asking questions, even though vice presidents wouldn't work with me. I remember calling each one of their executive assistants and saying, hey, I want to meet with you. Can you tell me about your business area? Like I wanted to connect dots. That's just how my mind works. I want to see how, businesses run, how each area develops. And so, of course, all the executives, business executives, assistants met with me. And that's how it all started. And then just promoting and moving up. But along the way, as you said, it ended up being a 27-year beautiful career, being able to speak globally. But my passion was with women because every weekend, sitting down, even though I was speaking, I was training, I was helping them create sustainable business plans. At the end of the day, Tanya, they wanted a sustainable well-being plan. They're like, Tracey, I'm burned out. I'm tired. I can't keep doing this. I feel like I'm trapped in a body that's not mine. Like, how have you been able to do this? I was a single mom as well, 2 children, juggling this career. I had amazing grandparents, so I always loved to shout them out, who believed in me. I had 2 kids who believed in me. And, we can definitely talk about that too, is how do you be a kick-ass woman and balance that home life, taking care of yourself, to, having the support of your children? Because a lot of people will ask me that. So I know I just said a lot.
That's why I was so excited about this interview, is because you are so multifaceted, and I love that so much. And something that I really want to touch on first that you talked about that really hit me was like, you had this beautiful 27-year career, and then you're like, but I want to do something else. And I think that so many women, myself included, I own a septic company. I've been in this industry for almost 15 years now. And I have such a strong calling on my heart of same thing, like working with these women that are in the home service industry, because there are so many of them. They might not be the owner of the company, but they're co-owning it with a spouse, or they're the head person in charge running the thing anyways. And it's such an isolating career, if you will, because a lot of times you're in the office by yourself all the time. That's how I got into this too, was the same situation with my first septic company. And so I remember being like, he wanted to start the business, and then, here, babe, you run the rest of this. And I'm like, I do marketing. I can sell the shit out of you, but I don't know how to do bookkeeping. I don't know how. And I had a business degree. They don't teach you the actual application of doing this stuff in school. So I was like, okay. I wanted a community, and that's where Ladies Kicking Ass came from, is because I needed that community so bad when I was in that position. And still today I do, because you go to so many things and there's not typically like the event, that we met at. Like, I stand up and say that I own a septic company, and everybody's like, what? Because it's such an odd thing for women to be in those things. So I think it's a beautiful thing. I love it. I will always be here to support it. It's still very much a big part of my heart. I still own the business, and we're running this, and we're building it, though, so that I can be not hands-on, and I can switch and do more with this community and work with women, because I also see that and how much it fills our cup to be able to give our life lessons that we've learned, or business lessons, to someone else, so that they can get there quicker than we actually went through things. So I think it's such servant leadership to be able to do something like that. What was it, if there was anything that made you clicked in your head, that was like, I got to make this shift, and I'm going to make this shift now? Because I think a lot of times people dance around it, and then they kind of dip their toe, and then they jump back 15 feet, and they're like, shit, that's hot. I don't want to go there. What was it for you that made you make that decision?
Oh, yeah. Well, what time? I danced around it for a while. First of all, if you're listening, like, you have this feeling, you just said it. It's like a burning desire in your heart. I always say, if there's something there that you cannot shake, It's not there for no reason. It's there for a reason. So for a long time, it was this, okay, Tracey, how are you going to help women with sustainable business plans and a sustainable lifestyle and do it integratively? Whether that's the corporate executive, independent entrepreneurs, no matter what that looked like, there's so many women out there. So I will tell you, I danced for a long time, right? So I was still doing corporate, but then I'm doing coaching on the side, or people would ask me to speak and doing podcast. But then all of a sudden, one day, I was like, Tracey, if 1 year from now you're still doing this, are you going to be happy? And I was like, I will tell you, it was, you know what I mean? It's, to be honest, it was like that January and it's January of 2022. It's that New Year's resolution time. And I'm also going to be honest, I was just ready to turn 50. And so all of a sudden, I said to myself, no, this career has brought me to this point to be able to help. And I believe all of us were born with those purposes. So if you right now been dancing, it's okay. Understand that that dance is there for a reason. But I need you to ask yourself, if 1 year from now you're still dancing, are you going to be happy? Like, what is it that you truly want? So I finally said to myself, I don't want to be pigeonholed anymore into just a company, right? Because that took a lot of my time. I want to be able to help more women, whatever that looks like. And so even in this past year, I got connected with my community, which was the most beautiful thing. I'd traveled all my life. I wasn't even connected. But I will say, asking myself that question, and then we can go on number 2. But then when you do make that decision, woo, like it gets real. Like, what are you going to do? I mean, I help women, and I always say this, a coach still needs a coach. I don't care what level you are, who you are. I'm going to say right now, because people always think, oh, because I help them so much. I'm like, oh no, I have coaches as well. I need a coach. I got to have somebody get me all the weeds. Amen, Tanya. Like,
Me too.
yeah.
You know what? And people will say, well, I have a life coach. And I'm like, fantastic. What are you doing for your business? And they're like, well, I have a coach. And this is what I love about you is that you do coach on a variety of different things. Like, I did look at your website on all of those things, and you have like life coaching and business coaching and professional coaching and health coaching. How much, this is a 2-part question. How much do those two integrate with each other, like you're talking about? And how important is it, or maybe your opinion if it is not, important to have a coach in different areas of your life?
Yeah. So we'll answer the first question first. And it's exactly what you were talking about. I was doing business coaching, right? Helping women really understand. One, I want to pause and say, it's like, what is success for you? Right? Numbers wise, business wise. But I always ask the question too, and I'm just feeling called to just share this, is what does success feel like for you? Because that is a completely different question, right? We all have the number and all these things, and right. And I taught that for years and break it down, ba, ba, ba. And then all of a sudden one day I was like, but no, what does it feel like? Is it burned out? Is it not time for yourself? Is it not ever attending any of your family ball games? Listen, you'll need to attend them all. And if you do attend them all, that's great. But what happened is at the end of the day, the truth is, Tanya, for 2 years, I journaled something. Because at night, I would always journal when I would travel on the road and meet, so I could always go back to my notes. I always say your answers are with the people, so whatever. And they would ask me three things all the time. Tracey, how do you have this much energy? Because you need energy to take care of yourself, to do things for yourself. You need energy to put into your business and your family. Well, that energy comes from rituals and routines with well-being, from what's on the end of our fork to what we're feeding our mind, which I think is even more important than what's on our fork, and some movement. So if you don't have the energy, then you're really not able to execute the. So people always said, how do you have, like, Tracey, you're the same in webinar, in person. Like, they would just go, oh my gosh, you're always the same. I'm like, yes. And number 2, right? Are you always this positive? Like, oh my gosh, like, we know you're stressed. But again, it's what you feed your mind. And I always say, like, you are in control of that. You're in control of what you're reading on social media. You're in control of what YouTube, what podcast you get to feed your mind. And you're in control of also blocking and saying no. And it's not a bad thing. I realize that, you know what? that is okay. That's not mean or bad. You get to control what you feed your own. This is your energy, your life, your purpose, right? And then the third questions, Tanya, we don't have to get into it, but people would say to me, what are you eating out of those baggies? Because I packed food. I was intentional because since I was intentional with my energy, my cellular level, my mind, what I fed my body, I knew would either zap my energy or give it to me. At either being tired or whatever, right? It would do all these things. So I said, I get to be in control what I fuel my body. I get to get control on a cellular level what I do. So I was very intentional. And because of those three questions, integrated me helping them with their business, but integrating side by side, not separate. How then do you take care of yourself so you have the energy to to be able to execute what you want? So I hope that answered. It just integrates.
So good. So good. So if people have, like, for instance, like I have a personal coach that I work with, I have a business coach that I work with, and then I have like a trainer that you work with at the gym, right? Or you can have a financial coach because you're focusing on those things. Like always find it really fascinating when I talk to people that aren't really as much into personal development or coaching, or kind of think it's like woo hooey, whatever. I don't need that. I don't need a coach. I'm like, Michael Jordan needed a freaking coach. Like, the best people in the world don't have one coach. They have 7 coaches because they're very specific and tactical about those things. When do you think it is a good time to consider, one, getting a coach, and two, what kind of coach you need?
Yeah. I'm all about having multi coaches because it's the truth. I happen to be multi in what I do on a couple levels, but one coaching from the moment that you want to be able to do something. You can't do anything alone, right? We've got the ideas in our head. We need somebody be right alongside us to help go, well, what does that look like? What's the messaging, all the strategy, like everything around it. Like you do such an amazing job here and with marketing, all those. But then, like you said, you're going to need that well-being coach, maybe that financial coach, but you need that, in my personal opinion. And it depends. Maybe you need a life coach before that. Depends on what's going on in your life. But you
Sure.
need that person that's going to help you and lay out so that because we get stuck. What stops all of us is we get stuck. And when we're stuck and we don't know what to do, it paralyzes us, right? So then we end up not moving forward. We don't create the course, or we don't understand how to put it on the platform. We don't understand social media, all the things that go with it. We get stuck right away. Invest in yourself. You've never heard a person say, oh, I regret investing in myself. Oh, I wish I never got a coach. Everyone says, I wish I would have done it sooner. It was the best thing I could have ever done. And so I'm going to share with you right now, get that coach. And along the way, no, whatever that looks like, if some nudge is coming, get the next coach. It's going to save you so much time and money. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yes. And the accountability that comes with a coach is the entire reason why I have them, to be real honest with you. Like, I don't have a problem executing, but I need somebody to check my ass and be like, did you get that done today? Or if I've got a trainer at the gym, no excuses. I got to show up because that person showed up at the gym for me, and I will never leave them hanging. So it is whatever is kind of a roadblock for you, or things that you get stuck with. Find a reason for that. I think that's where, like, the things that I struggle with the most are the things that I need the coaches in, because they're very easy to pick them up, put them in a cute container, set them on the shelf, and be like, I'll get to that later. Except, when is later? Like, later is never on a calendar. It's not a day of the week. You're never going to get to it. And you know damn well that you're not going to. And that's where the coach can come in and help you. And if you get intimidated by having maybe a one-on-one coach at the beginning, join a group coaching program. Join a membership. Ladies Kicking Ass has a membership coming out this month. Join in with us. We're going to sit just like this a couple times a month and just talk about shit that's going on with people and how can we help each other. In a community, you will find people that you will resonate with, and that can even be an accountability person until you need the next level, And sometimes you outgrow the coach that you have, and that's okay too. Get another one. Look for something else. Like, don't settle on your life. This is yours. You get to decide what to do with it. So I love what you're doing with things and how you integrate those things. So what I want to do is really jump into some of that stuff that you work on. What is your favorite area of all of those things that you coach to really focus on? What is your if someone's saying Tracey's a coach and she's a coach in a lot of things, but you're best at or you enjoy the most, what kind of coaching?
Oh boy, that is such a great question. And Tanya, I asked my own self this. And at the end of the day, even though I love speaking and coaching, and I do it very much so, even still for corporate and different things, it's crazy. Even in the last couple of weeks, I've played in all three of my pillars so differently. But you know what I love? My true passionate heart since I've been a little girl was wellness, because I just loved it. Because there was so much confusion, right? Especially as women, I think we grew up in this diet culture. I was the yo-yo dieter, the emotional eater, the binge eater, all this. And that shit's real. Okay. Oh, we know what to do.
Yeah.
And that's why when I went back to school, I didn't even mention, like, it was in 2010 that I resigned from my career and went to New York and went to school, because I was like, oh my gosh, at the end of the day, I really need to help. See, that ended up being my passion, because I thought if they don't feel good about themselves, right? If they're exhausted, they're tired, they're all these things, like, they're never going to go out there and be that kick-ass woman they need to be. So I said, that's it. I'm helping them with that first, because when they are feeling good and they understand, so it is that well-being. And then in 2018, you mentioned it, I went back to school and studied hormones, because girl, no one was talking about hormones, perimenopause, what was going on. Really, it starts in your mid-30s, but when you're in your 40s, oh, it's hitting you. Like, I don't care. It's just the evolution of life. But I always tell everybody, I believe in personal opinions. I don't want it, you can manage those symptoms. We are all going to go through them. That's aging in life. But dang it, when you start understanding and that there's nothing wrong with you and what to do to help manage and navigate those seasons, crap, this is really the best season of our life, girl. Like, we've got wisdom underneath us. We've got stuff. We're here to kicking some ass. We need to keep going. Well, then this little stuff hits and we're like, what the shiz just happened?
Yes. Before we hit record on this, I was telling Tracey too, I'm like, I hit 40. It actually came out right after COVID. And I was like, what the hell is wrong with me? Personal backstory, I gained 40 pounds in 3 months. It was absolutely nuts. I had big, beautiful hair like yours. I had so much hair. Half my hair has fallen out. Even my eyelashes, thinned out and started falling out. So much stuff. And just I've always been pretty high energy strung too. I still get through my days, but it is nothing like it used to be. And you will go to doctors. I've been to numerous amounts of doctors, holistic doctors, regular medical doctors, people that say that they know stuff that's going on. It's different all the time. And many times it's no gluten, no dairy, no alcohol, don't breathe, don't wear this, don't touch a receipt, don't drink out of plastic. And I'm like, well, yay, that's awesome. And I would love to follow that shit, but I'm not gonna. And this, how do you walk us through if someone is coming to you to work with you? What does your process look like if they're struggling with things like that I just described? Because me and about 7 of my girlfriends would love to know.
Okay, ladies. Wow, listen. We're just gonna have a little girl. Let's have a little girl chat here. And first of all, what you said, the first thing that I like to do, and I just feel like it's my gift, is so many people take away. And then you're going, what the am I supposed to do? Let's be honest. Food is joy. Okay. This is just plain and simple. All right. At night, whatever, everything is around it. So if you take everything away that you've had joy with, and you're sitting there going, what the world? You don't stick with it. So my process, I always say, listen, I don't want you being good. Whatever your day, tell me what, the next 3 days, will you just track for me? What does your day look like? And it's a gift for me because I want to understand, when are you getting up? When are you breaking your fast the first thing? What are you putting in your body first thing? How are you talking to your cells? I know this is really weird, but I see food and I know what it's telling my body to do, But first of all, I want to see that, because what I want to be able to do is personalize it to you to say, okay, what if we could upgrade this? I see that you love doing this. Here's your routine. Like, this is a routine you love. Like, if it's doing this or doing that, then I am going to say, can we add in to crowd out? So I never talk about only the crowding out. That's what I don't talk about. I'm like, okay, well, this right here, when we're doing that on a cellular level, most of the time and I'll explain what happened, because I want to educate women. I just want to say, okay, well, here's the list. No, you're never allowed to have that. Here it is, have it. And you're like, no, because I know women, like, we want to understand why. And if I empower you why, you're like, oh, well, that makes sense. And so as you're eating it, you're even getting joy, because you're like, yeah, now I get it. And when I have this over here, okay, well, that's what happens, right? So I love to take what you love, your day, and upgrade. So I add in, I call it upgrading, even good, better, best, so that you still have your routine, you're still enjoying your food, and I call it scooches. The big thing I talk about is we're going to scooch, because you can't have a magic wand all at once. I love scooching with people. It may just be, okay, let's talk about, breakfast at first, or your snacks at first, or whatever that is. Let's, add in to crowd out and start scooching you, because those scooches, every woman, nobody comes back and says, oh, I don't feel a thing. They're like, what the heck? And I'm like, I know. And now we're scooching. And I don't care if you're going to dinner, whatever it is. And it's just, now, I will say at our age too, like, I just got my hormone tests back. I do keep really good track of them. I started in 2018 when I went back to school, because so many people were coming to me, just like you said, I've gained weight overnight. I didn't change anything. Tanya, you may or may not know, a year ago, my hair was coming out by the handfuls. And I thought I was going to go bald.
It's devastating. It is. Like, you don't realize how much this means to, like, for me, the gaining the weight didn't bother me as much as my hair falling out. And I know that sounds so goddamn vain, but I loved my hair, and I would like sit and cry to my husband. I'm like, I don't know what is happening to me. Like, I just don't feel like myself. And it's devastating. And so many women that I know, it makes me so emotional, because so many women I know deal with this, and they think, well, I'm just getting older. And it sucks.
No, it does suck. And I will say, I told somebody, because they didn't like you, I'm like, listen, this is the crown of our head. It's true. It's our little crown. And when we have a good hair day, I said, when you walk out of the hairdresser and you have a good hair, and you feel good. And you take a picture in your car, that sunlight's coming in, you see the best darn selfie. Let's be honest. Like, I'm going to keep a real girl. Like, right?
Yeah.
And when you're not, and you're combing and you're in the shower, and like, I know, see? And it's getting tangled, and I say the big furry monster's in there, right? Because it has come out so much. It is scarier than hell. And so helping women understand, oh my goodness, nobody, I feel like, prepares us, and even what to start looking at, like our ferritin levels, our thyroid levels, like why, gosh, like we could digress a whole hour, like, listen, on hormones and what's happening, what I've had to teach myself to even get my hair to grow back. And it's slow, Tanya. A couple of weeks ago, it started, and I thought, okay, what's happening, Tracey? Cortisol levels, your sleep, your adrenal. We won't get into all of that, but I was like, all right, what's happening? Because something just triggered this again.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's so interesting. I just know that, and this is why I wanted to have this conversation so much and really be vulnerable with how much that bothers me too, is because you are not alone. And there's so many women that I talk to, even my girlfriends, that are experiencing these same things. And they go to doctor after doctor after doctor, or somebody that's like, you're just a number running through things. And this is where working with someone like Tracey, that is very passionate about what she does, but she's also very passionate about you, will make all the difference in the world. And there are other options. And I think that's something that the online education space is really coming around. Obviously, like, if you listen to Tony Robbins, like, this is $1 billion industry. It's huge. So many people know so much shit about so much shit that they're willing to share it with people for a fraction of the cost and actually get one-on-one attention and actually get to the root or actually see stuff. Like, it drives me crazy when I listen to people say, I'm gonna go back to college, I'm just gonna work at it at nighttime. And I'm like, what are you doing? I'm not really sure. I think I'm gonna learn like photography. And I'm like, oh my God, let me send you to an online course. It's $99 and you can learn how to do it on a weekend. Like, there's so many options out there to do these things. And so if you're struggling with something like this, like, Tracey, tell us why you're a good option to work with when so many of us have been to doctor after doctor and had zero results happen besides a big ass bill at the end of the month.
Oh, I know. And and I want to perhaps to say, it's not that I'm bashing doctors, time and place, but you know what? May I give you this analogy and share this with you? A year and a half ago, I had my thyroid tested by my naturopath, who found out, of course, right, when you work 100 some hours a week, it may finally catch up with you, right? Your adrenals, thyroid. And so they realized what was going on. Here's what I want everybody to hear. I think this is so important. I also had to go to my regular doctor for my physical every year, just that normal blood work. We've all been there, right? So he let me know I was determined that I was going to even do this on my own, heal it on my own. Now, I'm not saying to people, do this on your own. I know enough to be dangerous to do it. So now I've learned a lot in healing thyroid and doing things. But she's going through my numbers and she says, oh, everything looks great, 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 thyroid, great. And I remember she said that. I said, whoa. I said, wait a second. I said, did you say my thyroid looks good? She's like, yeah. And I said, well, I just went to my naturopath, who they do completely different testing. This is where I wish I could, right? It's a totally different panel, understanding how, like, really there's like 6 different panels. You need to understand how they integrate together. It's the same with your hormone levels and things. And she literally looked at me and paused and said, Tracey, listen to him. That's not what we're taught. Right? I mean, right, you go to school, it's not nutrition and education. They'll tell you that. It's not hormones. I mean, and again, that's not right or wrong. So, you can't, just like me, I couldn't teach on things or talk about what they went to school. I know because of my own personal story, my journey, right? Going to school and taking women through it. Like, that's why. And that's when she said, we're not taught that, Tracey. That's not what we do. Here are the panels these are it. Here are the levels. Here's what to do. Here's what to prescribe. And again, no bashing. So what I want to share with all of you is, listen, you know your body. I'm going to say this one more time. Yes, hormones and changes are going to happen. I feel like I get goosebumps. I can guarantee you can manage them. Nobody's talking about what to do to help navigate so you don't have to go through it so stressfully. Right? Where like all of a sudden, like overnight, things are happening that we put on weight. Our hair is falling out. I have brain fog. I can't think. I can't get out of bed in the morning. I can't sleep. And so for me, I love, like I said, it's just my gift. I love taking each individual, like I'm just looking at you and saying, okay, tell me about your day, what you want to accomplish, what success feels like to you. And we're going to integrate then to make sure nutritionally, let's look at things and maybe if it was supplements, right? So that it works for you. Because here's what I want to know. I say, I start 52 diets a year, Ton. Every Monday was a new diet. By Thursday, I've been, okay? And I want everybody to know this too. I'm not about being perfect. There's freaking no such thing. If you're with me, you know what I had to learn? Have the freaking cookie, enjoy it. I didn't have to eat the entire bag of cookies, beat myself up, then eat the entire thing of pizza and on. Now that is also a skill, but I love helping women going, it's fine. You want that freaking piece of, okay, it's what you do most of the time it counts. We got you, girl. Okay? This is not about.
Yes. Oh my
Good
gosh.
grief.
Yes.
I'm a keep it real person. And we got a lot of life to live. It's not a freaking diet plan. I'm going to teach you about your body, what's happening at this age, and let's navigate it. And we're going to keep pivoting.
Sure. It's really about rephrasing what that word diet even really means in your head. And what works for somebody is not necessarily going to work for someone else. My husband at the beginning of this year, like, he was going through some shit and he gained a bunch of weight and he's like, I'm done. I'm done. He did intermittent fasting. He was like doing all this research on all this stuff. He has lost 70 pounds this year. 70. And I'm like, holy shit. And he's like, I can show you how to do this. I can do this. And he like has smoothies and doesn't eat all day. And I'm like, I would be the most hangry bitch ever if that's what my diet was. I'm sorry. I just know I would be because I got to eat something. And then I'm like, you get busy at work and you eat like something as you run out the door, and then you snack all day at work, and then you come home and I'm like, oh, I'm starving. And then you eat everything in your whole goddamn house. So it's like one way, other way. Like, you got to figure out what it is. Like, stop putting the pressure on and just focus on feeling better today and feel better tomorrow and feel better the next day. And those are the things that we really have to focus on. But if you need the tactics and the things of how to feel better today, that's where Tracey can help you with so much stuff. I can't wait to work with you. So you have a new client.
Well, I can't wait.
I'm like, we're so similar in so many things. Like, I need that excitement in my life of like, let's figure out what your life is now and how we can adapt this and make you healthier with the life that you have now, instead of trying to create a whole brand new one that you know damn well you're not going to stick to. That is
You end up
crazy.
feeling like a failure, and you'll start the 52 diets a year every Monday, right? I mean, I'm just like,
Yeah.
and I'm giggling, but it wasn't funny,
And what, yeah. It's not funny. And you know what? One of the best things in the world that I always talk about on this podcast and when I'm coaching and working with people is that if you don't learn how to keep the promises that you make to yourself, how in the hell are you ever going to be motivated or feel like you can trust yourself and other people can trust you? Because I'll tell you, even as a working mama, and you tell your kids, when you say to your kids, so I have 5 kids between 15 and 7. And so when you tell them, we're going to go do something fun on Friday night, you don't even have to tell them what you're doing. They'll remember that. And if you don't follow through on that, oh boy. Like, we are so good at keeping promises to everyone else but ourselves. And we have to stop doing that shit. Like, if you don't keep these promises to yourself to start feeling better, which I am on a hell of a mission to do here, how are you supposed to be helping all these other people? You can't pour from an empty cup, and so many of us do it.
I know. It's so important what you just said. We just, I don't know. It just somehow as women, right? Because we're nurturers, we're natural nurturers. I understand. But I'm so passionate about what you said, that putting yourself first. I always say self-care is not selfish. And when I work with somebody, we talk about that. What does self-care look like for you? Right? So then it works for you. And like you said, and then it feels good to you. That's why I said, I always ask everybody, what is success for you? What's different for all of us? That's why for me, yes, there's tactics and things that I know and programs, but to your point, it's about you, your life. You're crazy busy, getting up in the morning, running out the door. That's what we got to work on, because then it becomes for you.
Sure. Yeah. And really not taking and practicing self-care is selfish on your behalf of not doing it for other people. You think it's selfish because you're taking time from your business or your family or your husband or whatever you've got going on, your friends, whatever. It is selfish not to take care of yourself. Those people love you and they're depending on you to do those things. And it's so, 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 so important. And I know that is something that a lot of people struggle with. And I love what you have said, Tracey. I even like when you said at the beginning of this, before we even started, you win the morning, you win the day. It is really about setting yourself up for things. And what does it feel like for you? Like, we have to stop looking at what the hell shit looks like and this check off to-do list thing of like, didn't get it done. Like, how do I feel at the end of the day? Like, not what did I get done? Like, how do I want to feel at the end of the day?
It's a switch. It's a shift. Like, I will tell you, it's an emotional shift. The first time, this is weird, I will share. I remember, not that it matters, I always have these weird remembrance God gives me, but I'm in Nashville and it's September of 2015 and it just came out of my mouth. I'm probably sitting in a room with like 40-ish leaders and we're going through things, right? And I said, what does success feel like to your point? At the end of the day, you're like, we went through this whole, and I mean, everybody is crying. And I was like, that's when I knew I hit on something. I was like, whoa, whoa, Trace, like you got to pause here. Like this is important because I'm going to say this. My kids, we don't have time, like the evolution, they did watch me, even though they got to watch me work hard and be an entrepreneur and have all that, they did watch me also. Because what I want to ask her is think about it. Do you want your kids to not take care of themselves? Imagine if they mirrored exactly what you were doing, not taking care. Is that what you want for them? I know you don't. And all of a sudden, it was this shift within my family and my two kids. And we all, and why? And we sat down together and we talked about it. And they used to even call me, even for dinner. It wasn't, what are we going to have to eat? Now we did plan and do things. What are we fueling our bodies with tonight, Mom? Because all of a sudden I even had them start switching their mindset. This is fuel. This is to help us have energy. You want to do this? Okay, this is what we're doing. And not perfect either. We're still having the treat, you know what I mean? But we started looking at, did you get your workout in, Mom? Right? Because I wanted to know, let's take a walk together. When when you move your body, it's really good. I wanted to try the best I could, not to then watch me be on a diet, because that was bad. My daughter did for a lot of years. And I was like, oh my God, I don't want her to be me. That's when it shifted. It scared me to death, Tanya. It scared me to death, if you want to know the truth.
Yeah. We talk about so much through the community and on this podcast, especially mamas. They are watching you. And if you don't believe me, wait till they turn about 13, 14 years old. And they will start mirroring what they watch from you. I don't give a shit what you tell your kids. It goes in one ear and out the other. But what they will pay attention to is the relationships that you model for them, the way you treat your body, the way you talk to yourself, the way you control your emotions, the way you feed yourself, the way you move your body. Like you could go on and on and on and on because you see them start doing that. The second they start questioning their identity, which turns in that preteen time there, that's when they start soaking up what is around them. So you see it happen with like their friends, parents that maybe aren't around very much, or they don't have any guardianship over them, and so they're really like lean into absorbing the shit that they see on TikTok. That's, some of it's not all of it's bad. I'm not bashing everything, but it's really how it's set up for them. So if you want your kids to be happy and healthy, you have to model that for them. You can't keep talking about that shit. Like so many times I catch myself being like, oh, like my ass looks huge today. And I don't ever say any of that. No, I'm always like, I always tell my daughter, because that little girl's got her mama's shape to a T. She's out all the time. She'll walk around. She's like, it's funny. It drives my husband crazy, but he'll be like, she's like, ooh, I like these shorts. I got juicy booty, like that, apparently the buzzword. And he's like, oh my God, don't say that. And I'm like, no, you say that all you want to, because that girl's not walking around saying, oh, look how big my butt is. She's very proud of that. And it really comes out of what you show them. Even though, like, I know we all struggle internally, and obviously so do those kids too. But the more you can put it out and show them, it's just so important. So, what you're doing is just women are struggling with things, and we're not looking at them like there's something wrong with you. We have to fix you. And we're not putting that vibe on them that it goes off onto their kids too. You're giving them tools to use to be able to make their life better. And I love that so much about you. That positivity is so great too. I really love that.
Thank you. I would just end to say that my daughter's 32 now. And just had a conversation 2-3 nights ago. She's in a different state, but she will still say, Mom, I know what to do. Like we were just talking about different things, but we were talking about, she was cooking dinner and meal planning and stuff. And it's funny because at the time she'll say, like, it kind of drove me crazy. Like, because, I would talk, my son is very much into, holistic health, and he's 27 and, just amazing about that, where she was a little more, right. But she's like, Mom, I'm so happy. I help my friends all the time. They absorb. What I'm saying is, even if at that time at 15, 16, what I'm trying to say is, she might've been like, rolling her eyes a little bit. Right. But it soaks in. And she will tell you as an adult, here she is, so happy with that beautiful knowledge, and now gets to help others too. She's like, I share with them. Don't be tricked by marketing trickery and things that keep us, right? And so I don't know why, I just felt led to say that. So even when they do, even when they feel like, and you're like, oh, they're not even paying attention, they're paying attention. Now that I've got the older kids, I will for sure say they're paying attention.
I love to hear that. Somebody on the podcast said, we're not raising children, we're raising future adults. You're raising adults. And it hit me so hard because I was like, I've always really had that mentality with my daughter. She's very old soul, been raised around single mom, raised around all the adults. So she's very much older than 13 in her the way she thinks. But my son is 10, and for me, like, he's my baby, and I'm like, oh, let me help you. It's like me and my momness of like, please don't grow up. Then what else am I gonna do? You have to work through that yourself. But I'm like, if I don't start teaching more things and putting more responsibility on him and talking to them like they are adults, I'm going to have a whole bunch of freaking 22-year-old children living at my house. And that is what the problem is. Like, I don't want that. Free, fly, little birdies. Like, I want to see you do amazing things. And so when you really even like the mindset, again, to go back to it, so important. Even just saying that out loud, I'm raising little adults here. You take a totally different approach to the way you talk to them and the way you serve them when you have that mentality.
I would say, do you know both my children this day have checklist of things? Because I work so much and we'd sit down as a family unit and I'd be like, okay, we're going to divide and conquer this week. And I have a list of everything that needed to, like, just, from house cleaning to, this night we're having this. Can you chop that? I mean, it just stuff. And so we'd all work together. I'm like, okay, now we're going to divide and conquer that way. It's not put on one person over the other. We're all three going to participate. And, like kids, they're like, I get it. To this day, they divide and conquer. They've got their list. They get through things. So I'm telling you, you're raising adults even when they're rolling their eyes. So anyway, I couldn't agree with you more. So
yes. Oh, I love that. Yeah, because sometimes when you get that feedback, you're like, screw it. I'll just do it myself.
nope,
That doesn't help
nope,
them. That does
not at
not
all.
help them. Just go with the roll in the eyes. You'll be like, someday, every time, like my kids, if they get to that, like, I'm like, then someday you're going to thank me for this because you're going to know how to do stuff that other people don't know how to do. And I will tell you something, if you want to be valuable in today's world, do one thing extra, do one more something, because the bare minimum is like, there's no standard anymore. The bare minimum is a high standard anymore. I'm like, what is one more thing you could do? Even chores. They're like, okay, am I done? I'm like, what's one more thing you can do? That power of one more thing is like the most amazing thing to create. Just like, you will always stand out if you do just one more thing because people don't do it.
I love that. I wish I would have done that. Listen to that.
It is so good. So, so, so good. So I just want to thank you so much, Tracey. This has been so awesome. I have kept you way past what we said we were going to be on here for. I want to be obviously honor your time. I appreciate so much this. But one of the first of all, before I ask you that question, if someone wants to work with you and people want to find what you have going on with your coaching services, where is your favorite place to hang out on social and how can they find you online?
Yeah, really my favorite place to hang out social is IG and Facebook, but really IG. Like, I love being there, love being in the stories, love. So yeah, definitely come hang with me. I love just posting tips and just things right through the day for sure. Like, so those are my two favorite, and we'll make sure we get those to you. But yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes, excellent. And we'll put all of those in the show notes so you can quickly get on and follow her. Tracey's IG is awesome. I love it. She's so interactive on there all the time. You make my day. You always leave such nice comments on everything, and I love it. So it's a great Instagram relationship. If you're looking for positivity, that's something too, man. That mindset thing. You ever need like a mindset shift? Go through your Instagram. Does that make you feel good and empowered, or does that make you feel like shit? Get rid of all that stuff that makes you feel like shit. If you're comparing yourself, you're doing anything, my Instagram is nothing but like, I go to Instagram for motivation in the morning because that's how I've set it up. And so it's a choice for you to do that. So if you're looking for more motivation, Tracey's is excellent to follow with that. For sure. So one last question that I always ask everyone on the podcast. I love this so much because in dozens of podcast interviews, I've never had the same answer before. And so I would love to ask you, Tracey, what does the phrase ladies kicking ass mean to you?
Oh my goodness. When I first heard it, and what it means to me is a woman who's standing in her power and purpose. There she is. She's managing lots of things, not perfectly. She's doing it messy. She's doing it afraid, but she is doing it and she's kicking ass in her personal life and her health and well-being, whether that be business. You know what? She is just figuring out as she goes. And that is a woman kicking ass.
Yes. Oh, I love it so much. Thank you so much. I know that this is just going to be the start of a very awesome relationship. I just truly, truly adore you. So thank you so much for this.
Thank you so much, Tanya. This has been amazing. And thank you for what you do. And may I just say, well, I'm going to plug you at the end. Thank you for creating the community. I heard you say that, and community is everything. And I can't wait to join. So thank you.
Thanks for being part of the Ladies Kickin' Ass community. Cheers to all you badass women out there. Keep rocking your power, igniting your fire, and making waves in the service industry. If you loved today's episode, please do me a quick favor. Take a screenshot, post it, and tag us at Ladies Kickin' Ass. Be sure to include the link to your favorite episode. Your support in spreading the word means the world to us as we aim to empower even more women. Hit that subscribe button to stay tuned for more kick-ass episodes. And don't forget, a 5-star review is the ultimate high five. Connect with us on social media. All the links are in the show notes. Thank you for being part of our tribe. Now go kick some serious ass, lady.